Stay on
Absolutely
with you,
the
Sumit.
question.
I also have with me on the telecast Mr. Kamal Bali, Managing Director and President of Volvo Group in India. Thank you, Mr. Bali, for joining me on the telecast. And of course, your first views. What were the key takeaways for you when the budget was announced earlier in the morning?
Yeah, Megha, thank you for having me on your show. Megha, I think I was very delighted to see a very growth oriented budget, despite the complexities in the overall global market. I think there was a very, very clearly a direction towards a growth orientation. Very inclusive. I think the second thing, very inclusive. She's touched on probably every sector of the economy, every social domain. I think that's so it's very inclusive. And third, I think she's kept on focus on investments, both on capex infra and also inviting private sector to really unleash the animal spirits with very new ideas on PPP schemes and others. So I think these were my clearly the takeaways: growth while maintaining fiscal prudence, opening up, and I think the big one for the middle income group was a huge surplus amount in the hands of young India, and I think this can really give a spur to consumption, investments, and savings. So I think overall a very, very good budget, and I believe the infrastructure, the continuing focus on infrastructure, it could have been a little more, but I think sky is the limit when it comes to that. But I think they have done very, very well. A good, thoughtful, inspiring budget.
Okay, when Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, started off with her speech, she spoke about the four pillars: the poor, the youth, the farmer, and the women. And under these four pillars, there were four engines that were described, which was agriculture and MSME and investments and export promotion. Do you think all of them have been uniformly covered in terms of the credit that has been infused, in terms of the MSMEs and the opportunities that are being given to the farmers, to the women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, first-time entrepreneurs? We talk about the innovation that is being created by way of education, AI, centers of excellence that are being opened up, IITs being branched out to other parts of the country as well. Do you feel it to be a wholesome budget when all these four aspects that she had spoken about at the start, has she been able to give justice to all of them?
Yeah, Megha, very good point you brought in, and I think that's exactly what I started with, saying that it's where it touches every sector of economy, every domain, every section of society. So I think so we can always debate on the extent of what we need. Our ambitions and aspirations are always more than the resources. But I can tell you, let me look at three or four of these. The agriculture. So agriculture is, I mean, as an engine of growth. So she's saying that she's covering 1.75 crore farmers with focus on diversity of crops, productivity, sustainability, best global practices, covering 100 agri districts. So I think mission on pulses, Atmanirbharta. So I think it's been I can only say it's very thoughtful. We will need to read the fine print to see how much money has been allocated and how much we need. But I think for me, it's a direction, and I think the direction is very positive. Then you look at MSMEs. MSMEs, there are about close to 6 crore MSMEs in India, both services and others. So I think, and they are really the core of the Indian economy. If you look at the share in the overall economy they have, the share in India's exports, it's very, very big, upwards of 35% in each category. So I think very important here, labor intensive sectors have been brought into focus, like leather, toys, national mission on clean tech, solar PV cell, EV manufacturing. So I think a huge focus on manufacturing MSMEs as well, and touching the right aspects on that. Let me look at investments then. Investments was very, very important so I think one thing very interesting which has come out is that every ministry will bring to the table the list of potential PPP projects which private sector can have a look in. So this is very interesting. So 3-year pipeline from each ministry, monetization plan for the next 5 years, that national monetization pipeline. It used to be 6 lakh crore. For the next 5 years, they are planning 10 lakh crore. So this also could, private sector could pick up some of these so that the government has the propensity to spend more on social sector capex, on health, education, skilling, AI mission, and things like that. So, to my mind, as you rightly said in the beginning, I think they've touched almost every pillar of of our economy, every driver of India's growth story. And obviously, we can always debate and agree and disagree on how much it was needed and how much has been given. But to my mind, that's less important. More important is the implementation, the serious implementation on ground now, and taking these initiatives as Team India, the industry, academia, government, authorities, civil society. Everybody now has to take this on a mission mode and take it to its logical conclusion. I think that's more important.
Yeah.
To
Another aspect that I did want to touch upon and wanted your opinion of was about, she spoke about shipbuilding and maritime development. So you know, it serves a lot of purposes. Although I think a 25,000 crore rupee corpus for maritime development is rather small. In my opinion, there have been a number of ports that have now been opened up. Shipbuilding and shipbreaking has been started off in breakneck speed, perhaps a little later than it should actually have happened. Not only does it serve the purpose of connectivity, it is bringing you millions and millions of jobs that are going to be created. Of course, it's a massive revenue driver. Of course, the trade routes that you have up until now not been able to make money on, not been able to capitalize. Unfortunately, even though we are surrounded by the seas, by the oceans on the three sides, how does this movement towards making India into a maritime power look like in the future?
That's for me, Megha?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So Megha, yeah, that's another great opportunity which we have not really, as you rightly said, we have not leveraged. And I think there's a huge focus. In fact, we are, as Volvo Group, we are also participating in some of the developments in that area on the powertrain, on the engines. So we are trying to bring some new technology on dual fuel engines, methanol engines, as part of the marine strategy for India for shipbuilding. So I think this is going to be important, and we are actually looking forward to these. And the good thing is that several PPP opportunities, public-private partnership opportunities, are available in all these areas. So it's not that the PSU money has to be spent. I think the private sector, the moment a thing makes sense, the private sector will be willing to, more than willing to, invest in the growing India story. And the India story actually is looking very, very inspiring. If you look at rest of the world today around us, I think we are at a sweet spot, and we are in spotlight, not only because we are growing at the fastest pace, but I think we are doing a few things right. So I think we need to continue on this. But the bottom line is now implement execution, and that is where we at times miss our goals and miss our targets.
Okay.
I think in terms of direction, we are on track.
Mr. Bali, if we talk about the budget today and we do not talk about the IT income tax bonanza that has been announced by the finance minister, then that would be something of an anomaly. So how do you in the larger scheme of things? Of course, the households get more disposable income, consumption, savings increase, circulation of money happens in the market. How does this impact industry in our country?
Oh, big time. I think it can actually, and it not can, it will. To my mind, it shall kickstart a virtuous cycle. People will start consuming more. The young generation will start consuming more. When the consumption happens, there'll be more demand for companies, more demands mean more investments means more jobs. So it is going to kickstart a virtuous cycle of consumption and demand, and I think that's something very, very good for the India story. And this is a fairly large number, so your middle income group will start bulging a little bit more. So India will not be just a simple 1.4 billion population. You will be many more. You will be more than 500 million consumers. So I think that's a very, very good story, which I see. So I think this one is a very big one. The government, on the face of it, is going to forego 1 lakh crore of revenue, of tax income. But to my mind, when the consumption will take place, the money will come back to the government through indirect taxes, through GST. When these youngsters consume things, there is a GST they will pay on what they buy. So the money will come back into the government system through GST. So to my mind, it's a great thing. It's a win-win for everyone. It's a feel-good factor for everyone, and I think that's the way it should be. And I think our wages are already at a lower end of the spectrum. They need to grow up. So indirectly, this will help improve wages to some extent, for the middle income group at least. And I think, and that's
Yeah.
one group which has been wanting some of these. It's a very, very good feel good factor in